बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलामुअलैकुम एवरीवन, माय नेम इज़ अक्सर सईद। वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। आज के इस लेक्चर में हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज टीचिंग एमसीक्यूज़, जो कि अभी अभी रिसेंटली एफपीएससी के सिलेबस में ऐड हुए हैं। तो वो लोग जो एफपीएससी या पीपीएससी इंग्लिश लेक्चरशिप की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, उन लोगों के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये वीडियो। आपने स्किप नहीं करनी, स्टार्ट से लेकर एंड तक ज़रूर देखिएगा। और आज हम इसमें 95 एमसीक्यूज़ डिस्कस करेंगे। और जो लोग चैनल पर न्यू हैं, काइंडली चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें, वीडियो को लाइक कीजिएगा और शेयर कीजिएगा। तो आज की इस वीडियो का जो टॉपिक है बेसिकली वो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज टीचिंग एमसीक्यूज़ है, इंग्लिश पेडागोजी एमसीक्यूज़ है, यानी टीचिंग टेक्निक से रिलेटेड है। तो सबसे पहले हमारे पास है ड्रिलिंग इज़ अ टीचिंग लर्निंग टेक्निक आर आ स्ट्रैटेजी इन। ये जो ड्रिलिंग होती है ये किस चीज़ में हम यूज़ करते हैं, कौन सी थ्योरी में? दैट इज़ स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म। अ टेस्ट विच इज़ एडमिनिस्टर्ड एट द एंड ऑफ अ लैंग्वेज कोर्स इज़ कॉल्ड। वो कौन सा टेस्ट होता है जो एडमिनिस्टर किया जाता है लैंग्वेज कोर्स के एंड पे? दैट इज़ कॉल्ड अचीवमेंट टेस्ट। हेजिटेशन वाइल स्पीकिंग फील्ड बाय एयर यू नो एट्सेट्रा आर कॉल्ड। ये क्या कहलाते हैं? दैट आर कॉल्ड फिलर्स। व्हाट इज़ द बेस ऑफ ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड? जीटीएम की बेस क्या थी? दैट वाज टेक्स्ट बुक। डायरेक्ट मेथड वाज फर्स्ट कॉल्ड। द डायरेक्ट मेथड को फर्स्ट क्या नाम दिया गया था? दैट वाज कॉल्ड रिफॉर्म मेथड। और डायरेक्ट मेथड का दूसरा नाम नेचुरल मेथड भी है। व्हेन द फोकस ऑफ इवेल्यूएशन इज़ ऑन फैक्ट्स एंड नॉट ऑन ट्रेड्स इट इज़ नोन एज। जब फोकस इवेल्यूएशन का फैक्ट पर हो ना कि ट्रेड पर, तो वो ऑब्जेक्टिव इवेल्यूएशन कहलाती है। A very important reason for regarding English as a world language is that is world's knowledge is enriched in English. Who has made a distinction between English as a foreign language and English as a second language? ये जो डिस्टिंक्शन थी ये बनाई थी अल्बर्ट एच मार्कवर्ट ने। Who said that English is the means of communication between the East and the West Pakistan? ये अयूब खान ने बोला था। Unit of teaching is direct method. Indirect method is that is sentence. In which approach the medium of classroom instruction is in second language? वो कौन सी अप्रोच है जिसमें क्लासरूम इंस्ट्रक्शन का जो मीडियम है वो सेकंड लैंग्वेज है? दैट इज़ लैंग्वेज इमर्जन। विच मेथड हेल्प्स टू डेवलप स्किल्स इन ग्रामर, रीडिंग, वोकैबुलरी एंड ट्रांसलेशन? दैट इज़ कॉल्ड ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड, जीटीएम। विच मेथड इज़ आल्सो नोन एज नेचुरल मेथड? डायरेक्ट मेथड का दूसरा नाम नेचुरल मेथड है। मदर टंग डोमिनेट्स इन। मदर टंग डोमिनेट होती है ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड में। English has been the language of the academics in the subcontinent since 19th century. Which language of the subcontinent were replaced by English with the British conquest? That were Arabia, Persian and Sanskrit. The importance of English in the academic setup is apparent from the fact that is English is compulsory at the graduate level. In which approach the focus is on the using the language rather than the analysis of the language. And language is taught implicitly rather than explicitly. That is called communicative approach. Give an example of substitutional drill. Substitutional drill की एक example दी गई है. For example, teacher, she is a worker. Teacher, pilot. Students, she is a pilot. In the second sentence, teacher said only a word, but the student said she is a pilot. Okay. Which method was originated in France in 1901? That was direct method. Initially, who adopted the substitutional method? वो पामर थे जिन्होंने सब्स्टिट्यूशनल मेथड को अडॉप्ट किया था। इन लर्निंग अ न्यू लैंग्वेज हु इज़ चीफ प्रॉब्लम आफ्टर द मास्टरी ऑफ साउंड सिस्टम? दैट इज़ लर्निंग वोकैबुलरी। द अर्लीस्ट मेथड ऑफ लर्निंग अ सेकंड लैंग्वेज इज दैट इज़ ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड। डायरेक्ट मेथड इज़ नॉट अ चाइल्ड सेंटर मेथड, ट्रू। Which method consists on learning grammatical rules and translation and ignores the skills of speaking and reading? That was grammar translation method. In grammar translation method, high value is given to accuracy. क्या ये सही है? It is right, true. Structural approach lays stress on. Structural approach stress करती है selection and gradation of materials. Which approach emphasizes interaction as both the means and the ultimate goal of learning a language? That is communicative approach. Communicative language teaching lays emphasis on, that is language use. Constructivist approach to language learning promotes child-centered approach. As a reaction against the grammar translation method, which method came in vogue? That was direct method. Grammar translation के बाद direct method आया था। उसके बाद ऑडियो लिंगुअल, फिर ऑडियो विजुअल, इस तरह से। The direct method recognizes that language has its roots in the spoken language and lays stress on the oral approach. Limitations of direct method are डायरेक्ट मेथड की लिमिटेशन जो थी, जो डीमेरिट्स है वो क्या थे? नेगलेक्ट ऑफ रीडिंग एंड राइटिंग स्किल्स था. इट इग्नोर्स द स्टडी ऑफ ग्रामर. Maximum participation of students during teaching in a language classroom is possible through discussion and demonstration methods. Grammar translation method of teaching English heavily relies on form-focused teaching. A teacher a teacher reads out the text and explains it word for word in English. Which method or approach is it? That is called direct method. The dash favors the exposure of students towards structure in different contexts that could allow them to apply the rules by themselves. That is inductive method. What is the most important prerequisite for language learning? That is an input-rich communicational approach. Why are the direct method and grammar translation method important in spite of their limitations? Because of primacy of speech and habit formation. Language is primarily a spoken thing, and therefore our approach to a foreign language should be its spoken form. Since language arises from situation, the teacher's task is to create a situation from which language will arise easily and naturally. Which method or approach advocates linguistic competence and performance? That is called communicative approach. Metalinguistic awareness means awareness means the ability to think and talk about language. Which language skills are receptive? Listening and reading are receptive. The best time to learn a second language is in early childhood. The process by which the linguistic ability develops in a human is called language acquisition. Structural method stresses that we should know well how the word order, the structure words, and the word forms are employed to make sentences. Procedure that may be followed in the structural method is creating situations to teach the structure, individual drill or coursework, and reading from the substitution tables. Language teaching is sometimes discussed in terms of a few related aspects, namely method, approach, and technique. Journey from particular to generalization is inductive method. Deductive method proceeds from generalization to specification. Which test is used to find out the cause of defective learning in order to adopt remedial teaching? That is diagnostic test. Which method insisted that speech is primary, grammar can be learned indirectly? That is direct method. Grammar translation method does not enhance a students. ये enhance नहीं करती student की communicative skill को. A particular trick or strategy used to accomplish an inmate objective is called technique. ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड इज आल्सो कॉल्ड ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड जो है उसका दूसरा नाम द क्लासिकल मेथड भी है. क्लासिकल मेथड वाज नेम्ड ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड इन 19th सेंचुरी में इसे ये नेम दिया गया था ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड का. क्लासिकल मेथड को इनिशियली वो क्लासिकल मेथड था. कम्युनिकेटिव लैंग्वेज टीचिंग रिप्लेस्ड बेसिकली ये रिप्लेस करती है स्ट्रक्चरल टीचिंग को. which evaluation is conducted along with teaching and learning process, that is formative evaluation. The bilingual method of foreign language teaching was developed by Dodson. The earliest method of learning a language is grammar translation method. The objective of direct method is to develop a command over the target language होता है direct method का जो objective है. Situational language teaching or oral approach is a language method developed by British specialists between कब develop किया गया था 1940 and 1960. Direct method got formulated in the later part of the 19th century में. Which method insisted that speech is primary, grammar can be learnt indirectly, that is called direct method. In which method is the use of mother tongue not encouraged, that is direct method. The natural approach was developed by Stephen Christian. Functional communicative approach is in opposition to that is structural approach. Receptive skills are also called passive skills. ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग का मतलब होता है टू कलेक्ट ऑल काइंड ऑफ आइडियाज़ ऑन अ टॉपिक. अचानक से आपको कोई टॉपिक दिया जाए और कहा जाए कि इस टॉपिक में कुछ लिखो, तो आपके दिमाग में जितने भी जो हैं आइडियाज़ आ रहे हैं उस टॉपिक से रिलेटेड, वो सारे क्या है, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग है. द मेथड ऑफ टीचिंग इंग्लिश adopted at present in school curriculum is functional communicative approach. Objectives of direct method are fluency in speech, capacity to think in English, meaningful everyday language, and grammar to be induced from practice. Audio-visual approach is also used in direct method. Teaching aids can be classified into three main categories. Tape recorders, radio, and linguaphone are ये क्या हैं? That are audio aids. Community language learning was developed by A.C. Karan ने community language learning को develop किया था. According to schools of thought, Learning is a child-centered activity process according to constructivism school of thought. The incidental or correlative method is also known as reference method. The silent way is adopted by silent way को adopt किया था किसने? Caleb Gattego. Dash points that language learning is highly mechanical and a matter of habit formation, that is behaviorism. Blackboard, pictures, maps, charts, flashcards, models, slides, and film strips are visual aids. Audio-visual aids are important because they serve as motivators and they provide direct experience. What are the two groups of grammarians called? Prescriptive and descriptive grammarians. Motion pictures and television are. Motion picture और television जो है वो include होते हैं audio-visual aids में. Who are prescriptive grammarians? Prescriptive grammarians are, they favor the use of strict rules in order to preserve the elegance of a language. Who are descriptive grammarians? Descriptive grammarians think that a grammarian's job is not to set a limit or a condition to better use of words. A structuralist stresses speech and thereby lays importance on. ये किस चीज़ पे importance जो है वो इसकी rely करती है, that is phonology, study of sound. Who said words are like bottles that contain ideas, as bottles contain medicine, that is HDP. Students are passive in. Students passive होते हैं lecture method में. The pioneer of heuristic method is. Heuristic method के जो pioneer थे वो थे Professor H.E. Armstrong. Lecture method is most valuable in providing in-depth knowledge. Which method is useful for heterogeneous classroom, that is grammar cum translation. Indirect method stress is on dash grammar. Indirect method stress जो है basically वो functional grammar पर होती है. Those words which are actively used by us are known as active vocabulary. Grammar based on how people currently use a language, not based on past usage of language, and grammar is called descriptive grammar. I hope it's clear to all of you. आज के इस लेक्चर में, इस वीडियो में हमने डिस्कस किए हैं 95 MCQs जो कि इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज टीचिंग से रिलेटेड थे, इंग्लिश पेडागोजी से रिलेटेड थे और आपके PPSC और FPSC के पेपर के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. जो लोग चैनल पर न्यू हैं काइंडली चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और शेयर कीजिएगा, लाइक कीजिएगा. थैंक यू वेरी मच. अल्लाह हाफिज़.